Thanks, everyone. Rafi, you go ahead and let me know when you already are. Okay,
Good night.
go ahead and get started. Questions for Coach? Doug, go ahead.
Coach, was there a commonality in the defeat to New England and this defeat to Orlando?
What do you mean?
Something similar in the two
Oh.
defeats.
No, I don't think so. I think we faced a good team. Credit to Orlando. I want to give them credit. They did a good job. I think it was an even game. For moments when we had the ball, we were dangerous. When they had the ball, they were dangerous. Little details for me were the difference. We were ahead this time, winning the game, and then in a set piece we conceded a goal, and of course that took a little bit away the momentum that we were getting right after scoring the goal. So we couldn't capitalize that advantage. And then in the second half, I felt like we tried, and then in a play where our back line was disorganized or not cohesive, it was all over the place in some moment, not high enough, a lot of space in between the lines, and then a little discoordination there in the middle of the back line, and then they get the second goal. After that, we chased the game. I think we put enough pressure on them. We put them back, and then we had a couple half chances, a couple opportunities to score goals, but we were not able. They did a good job at defending that. I think it was a very different game compared to New England.
Now, go ahead.
Coach, what do you think that goal is going to do for Caleb's confidence? I mean, it's been a while since he scored.
Yes, for Caleb, it's amazing. I think it was a good play overall. I think those were the moments where we were probably putting a little bit of pressure, and then I think Caleb, with his speed and his power and his decision, is going to get a lot of those. So happy for him. He did a tremendous game. I think he had not just the goal, but had a very, very good game. So happy for him. Unfortunately, we couldn't, again, capitalize that advantage and then use it on our favor. And then from there, trying to score the second one with some momentum, and then the game should have been a little bit easier.
Joe?
Do you have any preliminary information on Machop Chol's injury, and then also just how he played? It seemed like he was really making things happen, and what was lost when you lost him from the game?
Yes, I felt he was having a very good game as well. He was very good in terms of understanding when to stay in the pocket, receive, turn, and then from there creating chances, runs in behind, a lot of energy. And then I think it was his foot, something in his right foot. So still don't know the magnitude of the problem. I hope it's nothing severe because he's a very good player. He was doing a great job, and it certainly changed a little bit the game plan.
You've got 10 days until your next game, and I think like 5 weeks until your next league game. Just broadly speaking, how do you want this team to improve from this spot going forward?
Well, number one, defensively. I think, we're missing for a long time Miles Robinson, one of the best defenders in the league. We need to get him back to be with us, take some break, because it was tough to be that long with the national team. He missed a lot of games, so he needs to reintegrate. A couple of the signings, of course, we are hoping that Tristan can be soon available with visas and all that and integrate into the system. And if there's any other signing coming soon, I hope we can integrate it soon enough, so then we can have the full squad available, because today we kind of had it, but Jakub wasn't 100%, Ozzy wasn't 100%, Miles wasn't 100% to play, and we lost already three important players: Luis Araujo, Andrew Goodman, Franco Ibarra. So it's almost like feeling like six very important players down. So we need to come back, bring Jakub again fit, Miles fit, Ozzy fit, and then the new signings coming. So then hopefully we can get a little bit of integration there, having a very good Leagues Cup. And from there, after that, in August, start the last 10 games of the season and ramp it up to be top 4. That's the objective. And we have to work a lot because there are certain little details that still were missing, and we're working. I hope with the new personnel we can improve.
Henry and Sue.
Gonzalo, you change formation and then you have 2 consecutive wins followed by 2 consecutive 2-1 losses. Do you feel like
Sorry, I
opponents?
couldn't understand that part.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You change formation and you win 2 consecutive games, followed by 2 consecutive 2-1 losses. Do you feel like other teams are figuring you out tactically? And my second question is, do you think you're going to stick with that 3 at the back formation, or are you going to look to change during this interim kind of break from league play?
Well, number one question, maybe I have to reflect on that. I have to reflect in if, some of the tactics of New England were really effective, or it was more individual mistakes, or it was more the shape, right? I feel like the first goal, for example, of New England, it came out of a bad angle to defend the cross. We were ahead of the winger, and then from there we allowed the pass, a bad clearance, and then no one blocking the shots. So is that bad shape or is individual mistakes, right? And then today's goal, the first one, it was a set piece. The second one was kind of a transition moment in the second ball in there, and they break us through the middle, and then they start the sequence from there. So I feel like the shape in some ways is not as important as the awareness and the individual defending and the little details that make we have to be solid defensively, right? The angles, the speed of approach, winning the duels, dropping the line when we need it, be cohesive. So again, I told you this since it was working. I told you this when the back five was working. I said the back five is nothing if we don't have that full commitment defensively. So again, I don't think it's a matter of a shape, but I will reflect on what is the best shape moving forward to have balance. For me, it's very important, the balance is attack well, defend well, and I hope that, again, bringing everyone together, we can have that cohesion to be balanced.
Locker room's open. Sid, Doug, Colin. Sid, go ahead.
Gonzalo, of course, he had to use the substitution on Chop in the first half. Of course, he brought other players in the second half with the other 2 windows. How did that injury kind of change your strategy as far as substitutions were concerned? In the perfect world, you've had that other substitution. Would there have been any consideration in bringing Miles in to get him have a little run out?
Yes, I mean, you never know until the game is in. Of course, I had a little bit of a strategy with the subs. Of course, I wasn't expecting to make the first one in the first half, especially Matchup, who was, in my opinion, pivotal to the game plan because we wanted to attack with him in that space. We knew they were overloading the other side with Thiago, so we knew that hopefully after they switch to Thiago, hopefully we can move the ball quickly on the right side and from there penetrating. And I feel like Matchup is very direct. He receives the ball and goes at people, has a speed to be dangerous there. And then it's not like Derek. Derek has some of those qualities, but he's more of a winger, so he's not as comfortable in the pocket as a Matchup was. So again, that changed a little bit the strategy, of course. And then I couldn't bring, of course, Miles. I think could have been also a good option to solidify, especially set pieces or things like that, or not being open in transition in certain moments. And with his speed, he can help us. But I couldn't. So yeah, that was an unfortunate solve that changed a little bit the game plan.
And then from an individual standpoint, I was watching Brooks throughout the match, and I don't really remember him making the number of inside runs that he was making. He's usually always out on the wing, but he was making a lot of runs inside. How are you going to kind of build on that as the season goes on? It feels like that's something new that he's kind of trying, or unless he's tried it on the training ground.
Yeah, I couldn't understand. It was Derek, right?
No, Brooks.
Brooks. Oh,
Yeah, making a lot of runs inside rather than staying on the wing.
Yeah.
How did that? What went behind that from a technical standpoint?
Well, I think that was more on the second half, because in the first half I felt like he was running more on the flank, right? But the second half we changed the shape. At times I feel like, again, that was a little bit the disconnection there, having Brooks out wide, but then when Derek was outside, he was making runs inside. So I think it was part of the game. I was too far to really change that behavior. But on the left side, I think that we were having something with Edwin and Mosquera 1v1. He created a few good crosses from good areas. We couldn't connect, and again, we tried. The players tried. The players put a lot of effort trying to come back into the game, and we couldn't finalize in those moments.
All right, locker room's open, Doug and Colin.
Yeah, on the second goal, Coach, you talked about the back line. There was some bad spacing and a little bit of disorganization. Should the line have been flat before that pass was made? It was staggered. It looked like Lennon had to run, or he chose to run with Orlando's left winger, which broke the straightness of the line and kept McGuire onside. And second, the pass before, when you're playing the two central midfielders, should Pereira have had that time and space to get up the field like he did to make that pass?
Yeah, well, I think first there was too much space in between our midfield line. The four were in line with our back line. They were around 20, 25 yards, I think. And that's number one mistake, I think, because then you allow technical players like Pereira to have a space in between the lines, and from there he can hurt you at any moment. And then I think the rotation, Abraham was being aggressive, and then we need to close down. So if the center back step up, we need to protect his back, and that's exactly what we didn't do. So Abraham pressed the guy in between the lines, and then that gap was open, and he turned on Purata, and unfortunately he couldn't make that. But again, for me, mistake number one, there was too much space in between the lines. So again, regardless of the formation, we'll try to correct that, be more compact. It's been something we've been working a lot actually, but in that play we were not good.
Thank you.
Coach, 2 straight losses after going unbeaten, 9 of 10. Does it feel like any momentum you may have had going into those 2 games has evaporated?
Yes, I think it was a great opportunity to win this game. And talking about the would haves and the could haves and all that, at times it's not easy. But it could have been, a very good stretch, last 4 games, 3 victories. It could have been something important for us before going to Leagues Cup. Didn't happen, so now we have to move on, regroup, rest for a couple days because we'll have a few days off, and then come back stronger in Leagues Cup and show a better face compared to the last 2 games.
Sam, then we'll go to Spanish.
You talked about the space in between the 2 lines, midfield and the back line. Right before that, sub with both Josetu and Nazi coming in. Any concern that making a sub like that potentially caused a bit of disjointedness in that play?
No, I don't think so. We talk about that, but number one, Rossetto and Ossi are experienced enough to apply that. And in the past, it's been a concern when it's young subs, but changing 2 midfielders at the same time, I had to do it also for the windows that I had. So I did the first one with matchup, so then I had that one, and then at the end, I had to make another 2. So I had to do 2 at the same time. Yaku was restricted to 20 minutes max for this game, so I couldn't play that, what you're saying, maybe one midfielder and then Yaku, I couldn't. So it was part of the disruption with the subs that I had to take. And number 2, I don't think actually Rossetto and Ossi were doing anything wrong. They were putting pressure. Is the back line the one that has to compress the space? When there's pressure on the ball, we have to be compact. And if there's no pressure on the ball, we have to drop. But there was pressure on the ball, pressure on the midfielders. The back line has to compress the space. I think that's one of our main principles. And in that play, I don't know, maybe we were a little bit, hesitant because of the speed of Orlando. So that's where, again, that cohesion has to come back to us.
Switch to Spanish. Danilo, go ahead.
Coach, ¿era línea de 3 o línea de 5? Y si era línea de 3, ¿no crees que el equipo se defiende mejor con línea de 4?
No sé. Sí. Normalmente ese tipo de estructuras lo que hace que cambie es el tener el balón o el no tenerlo. Cuando nosotros tenemos el balón, hacemos línea de 3, y cuando no lo tenemos, normalmente hacemos línea de 5, a menos que sea un saque de meta, donde normalmente tratamos de apretar con los 2 carrileros muy arriba y defender el pase directo a los 2 extremos y al 9 con la línea de 3. Pero fundamentalmente cuando estamos en un bloque medio es línea de 5, cuando estamos atacando es una línea de 3. Vuelvo un poco a lo que he dicho, desde que ganamos 2 partidos seguidos con la línea de 5 y tuvimos el arco en 0 y todo parecía estar muy bien, yo hablaba de que la formación no es tan importante, es los conceptos, los principios de juego defensivo lo que hacen la diferencia. A mí me parece que pudimos haber tomado cierto, no sé, momentum o cierto ritmo con la línea de 5. Si hubiéramos sido más sólidos en esos primeros minutos con New England, desafortunadamente nos meten los goles muy rápido y en este es una táctica fija lo que prácticamente abre el partido para ellos. Nosotros creo que estábamos ahí igualando el juego, en eso cae el gol de nosotros, un buen gol. Y muy pronto nos regresan el gol en una táctica fija. No fue tanto el problema de la línea de 5. Creo que en general la línea de 5 trabaja bien, pero una vez más, línea de 4, línea de 5, pequeños descuidos, pequeños despistes que tenemos en ciertas jugadas y nos está costando mucho recuperarnos de eso. No es que la línea de 5 trabaje mal siempre, creo que normalmente hacen un buen trabajo, la línea de 4 igual, son despistes, un saque de banda, un tiro diagonal, un reinicio de juego y ha habido muchas jugadas así que tenemos que mejorar en eso. Creo que cometemos pequeños errores de concentración en ciertos momentos y eso cuesta en este nivel.
En el último tercio de la cancha, hoy noté algo que hace rato lo vengo notando. Muchas veces el delantero hoy, Miguel Berry, hacía el pase hacia atrás y corría hacia adelante como para darle las espaldas a la defensa, pero nunca se le pasó el balón. Le pasó a Thiago. Retrocedían, iban para el otro lado y dejaban correr al delantero sencillamente por gusto, porque nunca la recibió, nunca trataron de ganarle las espaldas a los defensas. ¿Te diste cuenta de eso? ¿O pasó hoy como 4 o 5 veces en el partido?
Sí, creo que nos está faltando encontrar más rápido esas oportunidades de romper la línea del rival. Incluso hay una jugada en el primer tiempo donde Ronald trae la pelota y no es Miguel, pero es Derrick. El lateral izquierdo se va con Brooks, el central por izquierda estaba muy pendiente de Miguel y el que entra solo es Derrick en un pase interno ahí al carril interno, a la espalda del lateral y no lo vemos. Entonces nos está faltando a veces esa visión, ver largo. Si veo largo, veo corto. Entonces nos está faltando un poco esa visión. También decir que fue más en esos pases centrales. Creo que a los laterales, a los carrileros, a los extremos, sí que los hemos encontrado a las espaldas, pero no tanto por el centro, que es otra llave que nos puede ayudar mucho.
Profe, buenas noches. Juan Carlos Brando para La Mejor Atlanta. Tengo muchas preguntas, pero voy a quedarme solamente con una. Solo mencionaré que hoy lo vi frustrado como nunca con el arbitraje. Y también la pregunta vendría hacia ¿qué piensa un entrenador cuando está buscando consistencia con el equipo? Cuando ha notado que no se pueden ganar los partidos porque precisamente no hay esa consistencia de la que hablábamos hace un par de semanas aquí. Y repentinamente salen 2 jugadores que son parte fundamental del 11. ¿Qué pasa por la mente del entrenador en esos momentos?
Pues mira, primero lo del arbitraje, sí frustra mucho cuando, en mi percepción, esta es opinión personal, creo que las decisiones que toman los árbitros son dispares, jugadas similares se marcan diferente, a veces incluso a favor nuestro, pero la gran mayoría en contra nuestra. Hace un par de partidos en Montreal, creo que justamente se agrega el tiempo adecuado, capaz que 9 minutos fue justo, pero después de eso se agregan 3, entonces jugamos 12 minutos más. Y hoy que me parece que había sido un partido donde habían ocurrido situaciones similares a las de Montreal, solo se agregan 5. Y aparentemente dicen que agregaron otros 3, pero es mentira porque a partir de los 5 minutos pasaron 3 minutos sin que se reanudara el juego. Entonces no es que se agreguen 3, es que se inició después porque estaban perdiendo otros 3 minutos. Entonces fundamentalmente es una medida dispar que contra nosotros se agreguen 12 y en contra de nosotros se agreguen 5. Entonces esas cosas me parecen mal, ciertas faltas iguales que se marcan al revés, Creo que hay un penal que es muy revisable sobre Giacomakis en un centro de Edwin Mosquera. Por la espalda empujan a Giacomakis, incluso el defensor se cae y tira a Giacomakis y no se revisa y no hay penal. Jugadas así son las que desesperan mucho, jugadas de faltas muy claras a lo último con Edwin Mosquera, son jugadas muy obvias, muy claras, faltas que no se reinician de donde es la jugada. Vieron una falta de Giacomakis y el portero intenta reiniciar de fuera del área cuando claramente fue casi pegado al área chica, abusando del reglamento, y el árbitro no sanciona esas cosas, no saca amarillas, no sanciona, no reclama. Y las distancias del reinicio de faltas son casi siempre 15, 20 metros. No es la primera vez que pasa, ha pasado 2 veces que de un reinicio de unas 15 yardas adelante donde fue la falta, viene un gol del rival. Uno aquí en casa, donde fueron casi 15 yardas de diferencia de que el portero despejó largo. Entonces es una ventaja para el rival despejar casi de la línea de meta que despejar de afuera del área. Y eso trajo como consecuencia que el despeje del portero llegara más lejos y por ende estuviera más cerca de nuestra portería. Situaciones así que me parece que después mi jugador quiere reiniciar un saque de banda atrás de donde fue el saque de banda y le dice que es más adelante, pero se fija en 2 yardas o 3 yardas que mi jugador quería sacar atrás, ni siquiera adelante, no quería comer, quería sacar atrás. En el segundo tiempo, casi en el último tercio, y el árbitro no lo deja reiniciar porque dice que es más adelante, pero al rival lo deja sacar 15 yardas adelante de donde es la jugada. Esas son las situaciones que incomodan mucho, y la frustración es que son cosas tan pequeñas pero que marcan una gran diferencia en la tendencia del partido. Por eso mi frustración con el arbitraje. Después, en cuanto a la segunda pregunta, ¿cuál fue? Perdón.
¿Qué siente un entrenador cuando
la consistencia?
Cambios que permiten que haya consistencia?
Pues por supuesto que no me gusta, ¿no? No me gusta no tener la consistencia. Quisiera tener consistencia, quisiera tener siempre a mis jugadores disponibles, pero cuando no es una cosa es otra, cuando no es fecha FIFA, cuando no es Copa Oro, cuando no es una pequeña lesión, o en este caso, bueno, tuvimos que hacer algunos movimientos en el roster. Entonces, bueno, pues ¿qué puedo hacer? No puedo quejarme, no puedo frustrarme, no puedo hacer nada más que tratar de hacer lo mejor que puedo con lo que tengo disponible. Creo que se había hecho un buen trabajo porque los últimos 4 partidos habíamos ganado 2, el último se pierde y si se hubiera ganado probablemente hubiera sido una buena racha. Tú hubieras hablado de 9 puntos de 12, hubiera sido un buen récord. Desafortunadamente hoy perdemos y bueno, no queda más que tratar de reagruparnos, ver lo que hacemos bien, ver lo que hacemos mal, ver lo que podemos corregir, agrupar a los que regresen y esperar a los refuerzos que puedan llegar para que nos ayuden a tener esa consistencia que tanto buscamos.
Profe, es un habitual, ¿no? Al primer minuto parece ser que siempre hay una jugada de peligro. Y bueno, yo no sé si tendría que reforzar defensa o qué tendrían que hacer porque se les viene un mes complicado entre Leagues Cup y torneo aquí de la MLS.
Sí, se viene un mes complicado, complicado pero bonito a la vez, ¿no? Es un torneo que yo creo que todos los equipos estamos muy emocionados de jugar, es una competencia muy interesante y después de esto tenemos 10 partidos, 10 finales en la MLS para tratar de quedar en los primeros 4, ese es el objetivo y bueno, tenemos que por supuesto recuperar algunos puntos que hemos perdido, sobre todo en casa y nada, se vienen la buena etapa en la MLS se viene, ¿no? Entonces el último tercio siempre es donde hay que apretar, ajustar tornillos y hacerlo lo mejor posible.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, thank you.